Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our next speaker for this evening. She's produced a fantastically engaging collection of images which have been paired with some massively thought-provoking essays by Milan Rai, which throw up so many facts that are never touched upon by the mass media, and it really does produce stimulating debate in one's own mind and hopefully a wider debate about the so-called axis of evil and the West's relationship to it. I'll say no more about the book, and I'll just leave it to Emily to tell you a bit more. Emily Johns, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a big round of applause.
Well, I've been asked to say an extremely brief bit about Iran, and I thought, how can I talk about Iran in 5 minutes? 5 minutes, so a very short bit. When 9/11 happened, thousands of people were killed. But I think what was the most crucial bit about it for us was that the war on terror was declared and the axis of evil was invented. And within a week it became really obvious what Britain's foreign policy was going to be from that moment onwards for sort of the foreseeable decades. And that foreign policy was about attacking or invading or in some ways influencing the lives of people in Iraq, Afghanistan, North Korea, Syria and Iran. And it seems to me that the preparation for invading Iraq and Afghanistan was already well laid. But that people here were going to be softened up for an eventual attack on Iran in some form or another. And I thought, I know absolutely nothing about Iran, and if we're going to counter the propaganda that we're going to be assaulted with in the next few years to enable our government to go to a war on Iran, we better be finding out about it now. And so from that moment I thought, Iran is somewhere that I don't know anything about, and I think it's really important for me to go and find out about Iran. And I'm not a writer and I'm not a researcher, I'm an artist and I work with visual materials. But I tried to get a visa to go to Iran. It was very, very difficult, and so I spent several years trying to get into the country. But during that time, I spent my time reading everything I could about Iran, and from a country that was just a sort of empty part of my world, I thought, I know lots about Iraq, I know lots about India, Soviet Union, this area in the middle I knew nothing about. And so I've gone from that state to knowing sort of something more about Iran. And last year I went on an international peace delegation to Iran, and it was in May, which was at the height of the whole nuclear issue, which has sort of since gone on. And it was at the time when Ahmadinejad was writing his letters to Bush, and there were attempts at diplomacy, but no contact. There was no contact between the British and American governments and Iran at that time, which seemed nonsense. It was up to ordinary people to go to Iran and attempt to establish dialogue with the Iranian people.